Hello everyone and welcome to the Mylio Photos Coffee Break. My name is Angela Andrew and today we're going to be talking about how to import media from a camera memory card to an iPad and an SSD drive. So if you like to travel and sometimes you want to travel light, this is going to be a great workflow for you because it allows you to leave the computer at home and still get everything into Mylio. If you have an internet connection, it can back up to any cloud drives you're using or to a local SSD that you bring with you. And when you get home, as soon as everything is all on the same network and your computer is powered back up, everything will sync into your primary organization system. It's really elegant and it works really, really well. Thank you for being here. I also want to thank Lori Rubin for being here. She is also product evangelist for Mylio, and we both are here to help you guys be successful. The way these programs go on Fridays is we're going to have this short demonstration. I'll walk you through this tutorial, and then we'll have some time for open Q&A. So what I want to do here first is switch over to my Mylio Photos. And this, what we're looking at right now is Mylio on my computer. And you'll see here I'm in the folders view. So you can see here I'm in the folders. And this folder structure is the same that I'm going to see regardless of what device I'm going to be on. And because you have access to these same folders on every single device that you have connected with Mylio Photos, that's what makes it possible for you to import things on the go on another device. And what I'm going to show you today on the iPad, if you have one of the newest USB-C iPhones, this works on that as well. But I'm going to demo this on an iPad because for me, my iPad has a lot more storage space than my iPhone. Plus, with a little bit bigger screen, it's much more pleasant to work with when I'm sitting in a hotel room or if I'm very lucky sitting on a beach somewhere. That doesn't get to happen very often, but I wish it did more. And this makes that kind of thing possible. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to share the screen from my iPad now. And hopefully this works. Please, technology, be my friend. All right. Can you guys see my iPad screen okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So what you're seeing here is my iPad, and you'll see that it's the exact same folder structure that we were seeing in Mylio. And when I import media here from on my iPad, it's going to go into those exact same places that it would whether I'm on my computer. And this doesn't matter if you have multiple computers, you can still import into the same folder structure. So what I'm using today, let me see if I can just switch back over here to this other screen and give you a little bit of a preview. I have my iPad here. I have a small SSD drive, and I have a little USB-C hub. If you want more information on the specific ones that I'm using, let me know in the community. I'm happy to share that with you. I think Lori has some links for you as well that she can share. The SSD is a little 2 terabyte Crucial drive, and it's just a teeny tiny little thing. And then my hub that I'm using, it allows me to plug in multiple USB-C things into the one USB-C port that I have on my iPad. And that lets me plug in the drive, and it's also going to let me plug in a card reader. And that's what's going to let me bring in my pictures from those other devices. So let me switch back over here to the iPad, and I'm going to take my USB-C card reader and go ahead and plug that in. And again, pray technology is on my side today. Give it a moment to pull up. Perfect. And that is my normal import that you're going to see when you plug in an SSD card to your computer as well. Exact same interface, and the iPad automatically recognized it. If it didn't, I could always go up here and click on that plus button and do a copy import and locate that card reader from the files section. But in this case, it just popped right up, which makes it super easy. So it's pulling in from my card, which is from my Canon camera, and it's going to put it right into my photos folder. I can say exclude suspected duplicates. I want to make sure this one here is toggled off because I don't want it to delete things from my memory card. I'll do that later when I reformat the card and put it back in my camera. And then I'm going to go in here to show advanced options. And I have a few things set up here that I like. I have a custom naming, which is, I believe, the date and then a 4-digit number. So if I go ahead and click on that, you can go in here and see that that's what I've entered, the D and the N for. And if you scroll down here, this tells you all of the different factors that you can create a custom name with. So I've created a custom name that is the date and then 4 digits. So I can go up to, 9,999 pictures. I don't even know if I have a card that holds that many, but I could if I need to. I know I definitely sometimes go over 1,000 in a day. So that's why I chose a 4-digit organization there. For my folders, I have it going into, like I said up here, into my main photos folder. And then down here, I have another custom naming. So it's going into the year. So it's going to be the year that those pictures are taken, in this case, 2024. And then a year, month, day. And that's how I name each individual folder. So it's going to put all of these pictures into my hierarchy that I use for everything. So from now, I can just go ahead and say copy now. And that's going to go ahead and start that import. And what it's doing is it's importing here locally to my iPad. And it's also going to be connected to that little SSD drive. Now, I'll show you in a minute how I connected that, because it's really easy. And you can do this before or after you do your import. Not a big deal. One thing to note about this little drive is I have this connected as a travel backup, meaning that it's going to keep the 3 months most recent photos on that drive. So it's perfect for travel, and it keeps everything that's current with me and backed up. I also have it, I can also connect this directly to my computer when I get home, and Mylio recognizes it regardless of which device I plug it into. So that's super cool. Now let's go ahead and jump into our photos folder here, and we're going to go to 2024, and we see here 628. And these are just a handful of photos that I took walking around my neighborhood this morning. And I just brought those in off my memory card. Now, if I open up my dashboard here, you'll notice that little SSD I have, that's this travel backup right here. If you have an SSD that you want to connect to Mylio, it can be one that, or Mylio on your iPad specifically, it can be one that you've already had talking to your computer, your Mac, or it can be a fresh one that you want to use just for travel. It doesn't matter. So what you would do to connect a new drive is you're going to go ahead and go up here to the top of your devices. So you're going to go to Dashboard here, Devices, and then choose Add. Let me go ahead and close that back up here for just a second, and I'm going to use my little pointer here, this Add button right here. I'm going to go ahead and tap that, and you'll see that I have different import sources I can choose. I'm going to choose External Drive there at the bottom, and click Continue here at the bottom. This brings up the Apple files, the file system of your iPad. So you can import from a folder that you have on your iPad as well. But I'm going to go down here. There's that travel backup drive. It's already connected, so I'm not going to do it again, but you would just tap on that travel backup drive and then click Open. So right here, tap on that and then choose Open, and that tells Mylio to connect it to this device. It doesn't matter if you've already set it up before. It's a little different from a computer, because when you plug in a drive to a computer, if Mylio is running and it sees that drive and it has already made that drive a Mylio device, you don't have to add it again. The unique thing on an iPad is that you do need to click Add. It's not going to add any new folders or anything, but you have to go into the file system and tell Mylio that that's there, as opposed to having it just automatically be known. The exception there is when you did the memory card was automatically known and it did pop up automatically. So hopefully that makes sense. Are there any questions on that? I'm not seeing anything over here, and I don't see any hands up yet. And it looks like we have one question here for Harold, but it looks like that might be on something else. So let me go ahead and just show you really quick. Let me go ahead and I'm just going to cancel out of that and back out of here. Once that drive is connected, you're going to see it here under your different devices. So there's that travel backup. And if I switch to, let me go back to my folder view, open up my info panel. Over here on the right, you can see there's that travel backup right here. And then it is bringing in and copying in all those pictures that I just imported. So it's going to take a few minutes to get everything in sync. But the cool thing here is what I can do, since I'm on my home network, I'm going to go ahead and just stop sharing this for a second and jump back over here to my computer. And let's see if my computer behaves again. It is being very cranky today. All right, so let me go ahead and go into Photos and my 2024. And we're going to give it a couple of minutes because it's going to take a little bit of time for this to sync and show up. But we'll see eventually that folder pop up here because I am on the same network. So everything is talking to each other. I could even pull up my phone and I can see that same folder structure, and everything is going to go ahead and come in. Once I get home from the trip, you don't have to take a folder and physically copy it anywhere. It's already going to be in your folder structure, and you already have time to organize it and work on it. And it makes such an easy and elegant solution for a travel photographer, someone who's on the go taking pictures and wanting to make sure they're able to work with those pictures. The iPad is great for that. And that you're also backing them up on the go. When you're traveling, sometimes the internet is iffy. That is why, even though I have a good amount of storage space on my iPad, some people do, some people don't. That is part of why I travel with this little SSD. It's because I want to make sure I have another version of my pictures. So my iPad is also set to keep those 3 most recent months, as is this little drive. And then that way, everything, I have at least 2 copies of those images outside of my memory card. So if I can't back up to the cloud, if it can't reach my computer at home, I still know that I have more than 1 copy of my images. And that is a measure of safety that is really important while you're traveling, a nice peace of mind. So with that, are there any questions on travel photography, importing into an iPad, or anything along those lines? All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump to Harold. I know you typed something into the chat, but you've also got your hand up. Harold, do you want to just unmute and ask your question?
Yes. When you're on your iPad, you've sent these to your photos folder, which is really on your main computer. If that photos folder on your main computer is, say, on an external drive and contains originals, then I presume originals will wind up there as well.
Correct.
They won't just be on the vault. Okay.
Well, so it's whatever the sync policy is that you have set up. So if you have your iPad set to hold originals, it'll hold originals. So one thing to note is, so we're able to see that entire folder structure on every single device. That's because in the file system, now this is obscured on things like iPads and iPhones, and I believe on Android as well. But if you go into your file system on either any computer, into the Mylio folder, you're going to see a replication of every single folder that you see listed here in Mylio. And that's because those folders exist on every single device. Now, which devices hold the original quality photos depends on the sync policy. A vault is going to have everything. A vault will have your catalog, it'll have all your metadata, and all of your original quality files. If you have your computer set to Space Saver, that's going to have the folders, and inside those folders, you're going to see XMP files for the metadata. And then it's also going to have in its own bundle files, it's going to have the thumbnails and the optimized versions. You also have the option. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so if the iPad is set for Sync Saver and you've downloaded things, it'll have originals until they get moved back to your main computer.
Correct. Yep.
Got it.
Yep. It's an incredibly elegant system in the way that it works. So right now, until things sync up, I have 2 copies here on this little drive and on my iPad. But once everything has a chance to sync up, these pictures will eventually end up on my vaults. And then as my other devices need space, those images will be put into the cache, and then Mylio will clear them as needed.
If you use a travel vault, do you save any time in syncing up if you then come home and plug the travel vault into your computer? Or will they?
Yeah, it can be actually a little bit faster. So, it really depends on your network speeds at home versus the equipment that you're using. So if you've got really fast equipment, like, USB-C 3 or better hubs, really good cables, good fast drives, and you plug it in with a direct connection, that is going to be faster than letting it go over the internet. If you have older equipment and maybe you have a gigabit of internet connection, that might be a little faster. It just depends on what hardware and what network you're using.
I have to say, I tried it this last trip, and the labels for labeling files and subfolders is just beautiful.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's pretty cool. All right, let's see if there's any other questions here. Randy says, why wouldn't you connect an external vault drive? You absolutely could. I actually have another crucial drive that is big enough to be a vault. I could plug that one here into my iPad, have that backed up to a vault here while I'm on the go. Not everybody's libraries are small enough to fit on an SSD drive. I'm going to be getting to a point here within probably the next year or so that mine won't. I'm about to outgrow it. So it just depends. So if you don't have enough space for your entire library on an SSD, that's where the travel backup comes in handy. That's pretty much how that works. But yes, if your library is small enough, to have it all on an SSD. I think the biggest ones that are typically available are going to be 4 terabytes. There might be bigger ones now, but if your library is smaller than 4 terabytes, you can absolutely make that SSD into a vault and carry a vault with you. All right, any other questions? All right. Well, I want to thank you guys all for being here today. And if you have any other questions over the weekend, or you try this out and something isn't working the way you want, let me know. You can send me a message in the community or simply comment on one of the events that we have, and we'll do our best to help you. Lori and I keep a very close eye on that. Lori also just popped up on the screen the post poll. So if you have any other feedback for us or things that you want to learn, things that you want our team to know, that's a great place to share them. And with that, I want to wish you a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next time.